Hello and good afternoon guys, welcome to MK Convenience Brokerage. My name is Mohammed. In this video we're going to talk about the TLC Driver Institute Wheelchair Accessible Vehicle Training, also known as WAV. So for those people that are trying to work for Uber, Lyft, Juno, or are driving black car, limousine, yellow, whatever it is, you need to be trained in the WAV Wheelchair Accessible Vehicle Training. This training is supposedly to teach you guys how to operate a vehicle that are in the future. If you do operate a vehicle, you need to learn how to use the wheelchair equipped vehicles. It's like a whole training. It's like a one-day training. They teach you how to operate the vehicle. They show it to you and everything. You need to learn how to do that. If everyone will take this course, if you're trying to work for Uber or work for Lyft or anything, or for sure in general getting a TLC license, you will get the course eventually. So keep this in mind. This is very important. The purpose of this video is to educate you guys, to basically learn what it is and how everything is. So this way, when you get educated, you know what you're doing exactly. So let's go to the next page. So, skip too fast. So the American with Disability Act, ADA, it's basically putting, long story short, it's basically teaching you the rights of how to operate certain vehicles and equipments and everything with that are wheelchair accessible. They teach you about the penal laws over here. That how to you cannot be overcharging passenger based on the disability. You can't refuse the services provided to them, and obviously if you do, there are some penalty and fines. The first violation is $350 if you do refuse it, and obviously $500 afterwards. So keep this in mind. There is a penalty. You cannot discriminate based on a person's disability, race, or sex, or anything like that. Keep that in mind. 54 million Americans are with disability, and 90,000 of them live in New York City. So this is a large number. So you cannot discriminate them based on the disability. So keep that in mind. So go on to the next page, page 3. So like I stated before, all the taxis, street hail services, FSV drivers must complete this class in order to get the certificate. This is a must. The WAVE training is part of the mandatory education requirement. So like I said, this has become mandatory training, so everyone has to go through it. The funding for the services taxi fare went up to an extra 30 cents on January 1st, 2015, under a plan proposed by Mayor de Blasio to fund more wheelchair accessible cabs, should I say. So keep that in mind. More and more vehicles are getting equipped with it. The more it is, the better it is. So keep that in mind. So these are some calculation rates and everything. But obviously you could just pause the video, you could read through it. I'm just going to go over the main part of it. So these are some samples of the providing services. You always have to listen carefully. Whenever you have a person that has disability, they might have disability every person is just different when it comes to disability. So keep that in mind. Not everyone is the same. So when we talk about this, we talk about the whole disability part. Make sure you know what the person's disability is. You can't just say that this person is this and it's something else. So keep that in mind. Do not speak too loud to people, such as people will have their hearing impaired. Always don't avoid demeaning languages. Put them down or anything like that. Like I said, everyone like this, same as you and me. There's no reason for us to be discriminating against anyone just because they have a disability. So keep that in mind. Never touch a passenger without a permission, and that not only applies for people with disability, that also applies for people that don't have a disability. So always communicate directly to a person, not the companion. So that's a big major aspect of this. So keep that in mind. Whenever you deal with people, you don't want to deal with them any different than they already have. So that makes a big difference. So keep that in mind. So again, these are some information resources for those of you that are interested. These are all the links provided on the PDF. You can always go and do what you have to do. So keep that in mind. Chapter 53, this is the accessible taxi cab and accessible street hail services. It teaches you about contents and everything else. They actually show you in the training, they actually show you slides such as wherever you're supposed to put the seatbelts on, how to restrict the wheelchair itself on the floor anchorage, how to secure the occupant securely, and everything. So the scope of the chapter, they teach you about unlicensed activity, payment of fines. We went over it. Like if you do get a fine from denying services, what you have to do, how much the penalty is, and everything. Definitions, they teach you about accessible taxi dispatchers. A lot of times, if the person with the disabled will go to a taxi dispatcher, and they can always contact you, and you will not know No one knows what the passenger is until you get them, so keep that in mind. uh, Approved driver, obviously with a valid TLC license and everything else, obviously with also the license as a VAV training as well, will be able to get that. Again, this is the minimum distance and dispatch fee and everything. This is just a regular pickup for location Manhattan and everything. Goes for a yellow cab and green cab, different stuff like that. $5 passenger fee for no show. This is just the basic stuff and everything. Like that we should know. Comply with the law, approved driver. Again, these are some penalties and fines for driver responsibility. If you do not do that, this is according to the fine, according to whatever you did. Um, Obviously, keep that in mind. The reason they're teaching these fines and laws so that they, in their end, TLCs, and they could always say that yes, you have been trained, you've been told, you've been warned. These are the penalties if you don't do it, and this is what you're gonna get. So keep that in mind. When they post something like this during training, that means that it's an important thing to know. Especially if you, let's say for example, whatever reason you're on a yellow cab and you end up seeing a disabled person and you don't end up picking it up, and it had to be a test from the TLC, and then obviously keep it in mind, you will get a fine and penalty according to the rules that they have listed over here. And since you do have a VAV training card and everything, or a certificate, you will be held to a higher standard. So keep that in mind. Other than that, these are again fares and fines and everything. For example, driver duties regarding passenger in wheelchair and passenger with other mobile impairment. Assisting the passenger, an approved driver must assist a wheelchair passenger with other mobility requirement upon entry and upon exiting. And obviously, must secure a wheelchair. If you don't do that, the fine is going to be $200. And obviously, you don't have to go to court for that. It's just not, something, sometimes you don't have to go to court for certain things, but sometimes you do. So keep that in mind. Again, the last page, again, fines and penalties as well. Notice of assembly, taxi dispatches, and everything. So all this stuff over here that's talked about, the purpose of this to educate you guys, to know what to expect. With that being said, that's about it. Thank you again, guys, for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys learned something from the wheelchair accessible vehicle training. Again, this is something that you will have to go through as a TLC driver. You will have to go to this course and take the courses and everything. And it's really, really interesting. They do teach you a lot, and it's something you will learn eventually. It's better to pay attention, especially with the penalties and fines. With that being said, that's about it. Thank you again, guys, for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other questions, comment, concern, please comment, like, subscribe. I'll try my best on my part to help you as much as possible to clarify any confusion you guys have. Thank you again, guys, for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.